Well, welcome to the Propeligent Growth Podcast. I'm Jamal Hirani, founder of Propeligent. And in this series, we unpack the strategies that fuel high growth startups. Joining me today is Gerard Blokdyk, founder of The Art of Service, a seasoned entrepreneur with sharp insights into how AI is reshaping startup capital. So let's dive in. Gerard, for those unfamiliar, can you briefly introduce yourself and The Art of Service and what inspired you to start it?
Well, hello everybody. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Jamal. It's a real pleasure to be speaking to you, and a privilege as well. A little bit about me, background. I've been around in enterprise environments, enterprise IT environments, ever since the 90s. So that shows my gray hair here. But good gray hair comes experience, so that's the beauty of it. We started out in enterprise IT environments back in the 90s in consulting, standard consulting basically, like how do you build processes and service management and all that in those organizations? How do you align service levels with what the service desk is about to do and what capacity you need in the mainframe, all that kind of stuff. All that kind of juicy stuff. And then in 2000, we decided to start a company, found a company to do that in Australia. Originally, I'm from the Netherlands. Started the company in Australia because there was a huge market here for that, rolling out these processes and helping out enterprises. Did that, was all classroom-based training courses with accreditation and certifications, and we literally had thousands of people running through these courses. And then we noticed that there was an uptake in e-learning. There was no Moodle, there were no e-learning platforms around that we could just tap into back then. So we built our own, and we ran all our courses through that. When our clients went through that, they actually said, hey, you can you do more online? So we started building toolkits to help them out, so with questionnaires and assessments to go with that. And that's basically the start of where we are now, which is question-based consulting. And that's always been our bread and butter and the strength that the other service has in the marketplace. What does it mean, question-based consulting? If you talk to anybody, basically, keep 5 questions in mind. And they're all the same. Why? Just go deeper into every statement that's being made by keep asking the whys. And that's what the assessment actually does. Each assessment covers a topic, and the assessment has about 1,000 questions in total, as an example. So originally we started out with building our own database of criteria that we pulled them out for specific topics. And as a lead generator, we published books, we published assessments, we published the courses, and that worked really well. Then 2-3 years ago, late November 2022, ChatGPT came on the market, and basically you could get the same kind of content there that we were putting out in the market through our own environment, basically. So that was originally it was a threat, but there's a lesson there. What we had was a moat, and the moat was we had our own question database. And now with AI coming around the corner, it made it possible for us to build our own large language model out of the literally 200 million questions that we had built over those 25 years. So our large language model runs over all those 200 million questions and generates original questions really related to the topic at hand, which turned out to be the moat that everybody's looking for, which is right now original data, because the internet has been sucked dry about a year ago. And all LLMs are filled with the same data, basically, which is fantastic because it's the knowledge that we all share and the knowledge that we all can tap into right now. So you need to find specific pools of knowledge that are not generic, and we have one of those now. And our enterprise clients, they do recognize that, so they keep coming back for assessment criteria and assessment data. So actually, now that we've got all that data information, we build out a platform as well. And the platform has got all those criteria and assessments and data, but also clients can now compare themselves and benchmark to how they are doing against others. And that works really well. So it's not just an assess yourself platform in your team, but also, hey, how am I doing compared to others in my vertical? So as you can see, we're constantly growing with the Art of Service.
Sure.
as to what the market is doing. Out of that, and that's what's happening now. Recently, in the past year or so, is that clients are coming to us like, "Hey, I see what you've been building in the assessment platform. We have an issue or a problem or a challenge that we need to focus on integrating AI and information in a platform. Can you help us build that?" So there's more and more pull from the market coming towards the other service to actually do that right now, and I find that really fun and interesting to be on top right now. So
So
this
is
week,
that an added service or is that a pivot that you've done consciously?
that's not a pivot, it's an added service, but I'm fearful that that might become the main service. But you don't know if that, fearful is a big word. I'm saying fearful because it could be a hockey stick thing. It could be just going up because everybody needs it right now, and then, okay, now we sort of know how this works. There's no moat anymore. We can do it ourselves, or we can use Claude Code or any other code generator to do that. Thank you very much. We don't need it anymore. Which makes perfect sense because that's where we're all going. English is the new coding language. It is now. Not everybody's aware of that, but everybody will be in the very near future. English is the new coding language, so anybody can basically, if you know a little bit of know a little bit about code and how to generate it and how to host it, anybody can build an application and have their
Yeah.
own data in there.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So you're in Brisbane. What's the startup culture like in Brisbane?
Oh, fantastic. Brisbane, when we came here in 2000, they called it a sleepy city back in 2000. You have Melbourne, you have Sydney, those are the main cities in Australia. Brisbane was sort of like the back town in Queensland. Laid back, like the Florida type of stuff, where chill, sunshine, and beaches. That was it. That was 2000, and I had a hard time back then coming out of the Netherlands, being a stern coffee drinker, finding a decent coffee here. Seriously, everybody was on the dried powder stuff back then. That's changed rapidly, as an example. Great coffee is to be found everywhere, great restaurants as well. And that's a sign that the industry has been changing here rapidly. There's a massive influx of overseas people happening here right now. I live in the Moreton Bay region city, which is slightly north of Brisbane, and it is the area that has the highest influx of people in the whole of Australia right now, from overseas predominantly as well. So what we see with the global threat that's going on right now is that people are looking for safer havens to move to, and a lot of them moved over here to Australia, New Zealand area because it just feels safer. That's what it is. And if you then look at the startup company, it brings a lot of talent with it. If you look at how my wife and myself, came here into Australia in 2000, was also on a talent visa, 457 business visa, basically. So you brought talent, a niche that needed to be filled, and you brought capital to fulfill that. That's still the same. That's still happening these days, but in way larger scale. So the tax
Correct.
environment is relatively comparable to the Netherlands. It's a bit better here. The personal finance investment capabilities that you can do here are much better there. For instance, Australia's got, as you look at the personal side of things, it's got a superannuation system. They started that in the late 90s, which is you, as an employee, you put a bit into your own super account, and that builds up. But the beauty of that is, when you retire, it's all tax-free. So you build it up and it gets compound interest, tax-free. So all those things together, combined with the big highlight that Australia and Brisbane specifically is getting in 2032, when the Olympics are taking place here in Brisbane, really taking care of a surge in investment, a surge in new buildings, properties, high rises. It's just amazing what's going on. It's really
Amazing.
now. Come and
Amazing.
visit. Show you
I,
around.
I will do. I will do. But you're plugged into a lot of startup ecosystems. What major shifts are you seeing across the startup landscape post 2020, specifically with AI and automation? And how are you seeing startups leverage these tools differently now than just maybe even 2 to 3 years ago?
Oh, well, how it's being leveraged differently right now. It's that back then, if you looked at pitch decks back then, and you've probably seen your own fair share of them, is we've got AI. We're an AI-based company. We're leading with AI. What it usually meant, if you asked further down the track was that they've built an AI wrapper, as we call it. They have an existing SaaS solution, and that existing SaaS solution, they then decided to build a chatbot in it that has an API to ChatGPT, for example, and just feeds back whatever you feed it into. That's great. That doesn't mean you have an AI solution, but you've got a technical feature. That's what it is. So that's what we've seen back then, and a lot of AI companies that are out there are still doing this and pushing this. We're an AI first company, AI company, but it's basically an AI wrapper. That's not what you need to be focusing on right now. What you need to be focusing on right now is the cost reduction or the revenue increase that you can generate with your solution. AI is table stakes. It's built into everything that you put on the market as an application, as a SaaS solution these days. I know we can still dazzle clients who are not that familiar with what's going on with AI built in, but you'll be left on the table when others surpass you with a better solution, a better option.
Is there anything about
there as well? We're working with a client right now that came to us and wants to do something in the governance area, governance sphere. And their idea originally was simply to have all the governance rules and regulations in a database, and then just pull up and answer, are we doing this? Yes, no, yes, no. Yes. Very static. No predictive analytics, no AI feedback, where should we improve, no API pull-ins from regulation databases, nothing whatsoever. So I put that forward to them. So when we put that forward to them, they went, can we do that? Most people don't really know that you can actually do those things and pull it all together in business and enterprises. And I hope they're really catching up by listening to podcasts like this and following you, Jamal.
Let's hope so. But tell me, is there anything about the current AI boom that you think people are misinterpreting or overhyping?
Overhyping would be, it's a bit of it's interesting. If you look at the past week, what happened in the past week, and you've probably seen it as well. I've never heard of the company, Thinking Machines. Does it ring a bell?
Rings a bell.
Rings a bell. Didn't ring a bell with me at all. Her name is Myra Marathi. She was OpenAI's Chief Technology Officer.
Oh, yes, I read. Yes.
Yeah,
I read, yes.
And she went out on her own a few years ago, and not too long ago, 2-3 years ago, founded a company called Thinking Machines Lab. Go to the website. It doesn't say much about what they intend to do, but this week they raised $2 billion for a company that doesn't have a product yet. And that's, you could argue, is that visionary investing or is it fear of missing out with a 12 billion price tag right now? And OpenAI just raised 300 billion valuation. To me, that says that it's harder to actually get traction right now. To me, that says you need that money to buy the talent. If you look at what that money is for, it's not for the technology, it's for the great talent acquisition Ponzi scheme, as I call it. Yes. In the sense that an OpenAI worker steps out of OpenAI, launches its own fund, launches its own company, needs money, and needs to attract talent and attracts other OpenAI talents. At some point, we run out of ex-OpenAI employees and use cops. That's my idea there.
Yeah. No, I agree. So let's talk a bit more about startup fundraising. What do you think is what's working well now for the smartest founders in your orbit? And where do you think most early stage startups are still struggling or wasting time?
Have a finished product. That's all I can say. It used to be that a nice looking pitch deck did the trick. Not anymore. Not at all. Because smart investors, smart VCs, they know very well that you can have a finished product or even an MVP. And you can have an MVP literally within 2-3 hours these days. You can have a finished product in a matter of days or a week, 2 weeks tops, a finished product. Show that to an investor, the finished product, what's going to look like. And then you can tweak your heart out after that, once that initial presentation is done. But that's changed right now in investing and in VC. If you want real money, you got to show a real product that solves real problems. It's not about the features. It's about where you can do the cost cutting. It's about where you can do the labor replacement. Show all that. And also be ready to answer the question. Okay, you're organizing labor. This tool will organize labor replacement in our organization, which is fantastic. How do you see that in the long run for those people that are being displaced? Then have your story ready there about compassion and, for example, Trump bringing manufacturing back into the U.S., where factories are being built left, right, and center. They'll not be like the jobs that we've seen when that news came out a few months ago, with all the AI generated videos with American workers putting iPhones together and all that. Now there'll be robot managed factories where we have smart software developers and previous labor workers turn into smart workers into those factories. So that's basically where this is going when you pull everything back into manufacturing. And that eases the mindset of a lot of CEOs as well, because it doesn't feel great when you really need to let people go, because you can do more, better, faster now when you build AI in your organization. Have that ready as well.
Okay, so where do you see AI enhanced fundraising heading in the next 6 to 12 months?
What I'm seeing is that it's getting faster, better, easier to generate money, easier to generate products and solve solutions. If you listen to, what was it? I'm a big fan of the All In podcast. I don't know if you listened to that one. All In podcast had a series in the past couple of days about AI investing, and Jensen Huang was the most interesting one to listen to. That's in episode 2, I believe, in the 45-minute section. Listen to that one, and he basically answered that question, where he said, we've got 6,500 people, I believe, in this organization, and they all need to use AI. And they want to use AI because what they're doing with that is that they come up with great ideas all the time and new ideas. And we just can't help ourselves by keep using that and generating new ideas and products and services. And that's the real revenue generator for our company, basically. So that's what it does. That's where it's going. You're generating way more ideas, revenue, opportunities. More people now than ever are able to create a product, put it out there, and put it in front of where the money needs to come from, or just generate money out of thin air. Which is you create a product and you test it out on your LinkedIn audience, for instance, and see whoever wants to subscribe to that, and then at least you have a product that you can show. Hey, there's money in this product. Can we build this out? It's way easier now than it was a year ago, and it's going to be way easier in 12 months' time.
No, I agree. If a startup founder came to you tomorrow, Gerard, what's the one key capability they should be building right now?
They should not focus on the code. The founder should come to me with a real problem that they've experienced themselves, that they know how to solve. And if you have that real problem, that means that a lot of other people will have that problem too. So there's a market for it. And it could either be in cost reducing, or it could either be in revenue increase. My easiest way to find a solution or find a problem that needs a solution is to simply keep looking at regulations and legislation that's being put out there, and what kind of potential burden that lays on companies and organizations out there that needs to be fixed preemptively before it enters the market. That's where the money is, basically, and not so much in flashy applications, but in stuff that gets things done and make sure that you're compliant and make sure that you're governed well. That's where the money is.
Okay. So a couple of quick questions for you. One AI tool you couldn't live without.
Right now, for me, that's really very simple. Claude Code. That's the one I can't live without. It came out in January, and it wasn't that great back then. Obviously, when it's the first iteration, gotten better and better and better. Fantastic right now. You can see other things that are easier to work with that are coming out because Claude Code's terminal based. Stuff like Lovable, out of nowhere, 100 million ARR. There's Cursor, same thing. Lots of tools like that, code generating tools that out of nowhere just take the market overnight. Those are the tools that you shouldn't be living without when you're a serious player in this market.
Got it. Biggest mistake startups make in the first 6 months?
Biggest mistake is focusing on the technology and fiddling with the technology. The old 80-20 rule, it's focusing a lot on the technology, figuring out which stack to use, what stack to use for what. It's basically all not that relevant. Stacks are interchangeable. If one stack doesn't work well, doesn't look great, to use another stack. Don't focus on the technology, focus on the business outcomes that you want to achieve. That's the main thing. So start there. What's the problem that you're solving? Don't tell me about your tech stack. Tell me about the problem that you want to solve.
Got it. What's the most underrated skill for founders in 2025?
Most underrated skill for founders is thinking bigger. And I've been a victim of that myself as well. When we started out with our original platform where we combined all the questions and had the assessment, that's an example, had the assessments ready for our clients. As an example, it's great. You've got an assessment, now you've done the assessment, what else? Think bigger. So when you think bigger, with that example in mind, you pull in documents as well from your organization that then gets organized, and you edit those documents and you pull in compliance regulations against that, and you combine the two and you go like, okay, we're missing that and that, fix it, and this is how you need to fix it, where and where and where. That's easy to solve with an AI type solution. But that's the kind of thinking bigger that I mean. Think about the real problem that's behind the question. Why are people using assessments? They've got a problem that they need to solve. What is that problem? That problem is they're not compliant. They don't want fines. They want to follow regulations. Fix that. That's what you're there for.
Got it. What's the trend in AI or startup culture that's overhyped?
The trend in AI startup culture that's overhyped. That's a good question. Overhyped right now, I see there's a lot of TikTok, YouTubing going on around vibe coding, which basically is fantastic. I love vibe coding. It makes perfect sense because I'm a big advocate of it, but you got to know what you're doing. Because if you're vibe coding, it means that you have the code generator generate the code that you need. But you don't know if your API keys are exposed. You don't know if it's secure. You don't know if your data residency is okay. You have no idea. So that's the main problem with vibe coding. You're not covering everything. We still need business people who've been through all of that, who know what to look for when you build code, where to host it, how to secure it, how to make sure it's safe, how you follow the rules and regulations, GDPR and all that. We still need business people to actually look at it from that angle, in code towards code basis, and not just build code and look, it's a fantastic product, and then when a client asks with a rules and regulations head-on typical questions, then you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's the main thing right now, and that's hard. So we still need business people for this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Final question. What do you think startup fundraising will look like in 2030?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I have this vision, and I think we all had this vision for years already, that blockchain will solve a lot for our industry. Decentralized autonomous organizations, they will be, it's just a prediction. Here's a prediction. In 5 years' time, DAOs will work, and they will work for us, and everybody will be able to invest $10 into your startup through blockchain.
Good one. I like that. Gerard, this has been an absolute masterclass. Thank you for sharing so openly. I know a lot of early stage founders will really appreciate this. I will put details about where they can contact you and get hold of you in the notes. And I wish you luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamal. It's been a real pleasure being here. And final lesson for founders: never ever give up. Winston Churchill started with that, and I'm all for it. Never
That's
give
a
up,
good
keep
lesson.
going, but start with the business in mind. Forget about the code, that comes later.
No, that's a very good. No, it's an absolute pleasure.